Howdy folks, welcome back. So, my hunt for the worst lighthouse comic continues and I found myself in a difficult spot where I do find them, but none of them really contain a story. It all falls under the if you saw one, you saw it all phenomena where there's a short establishing story trying to get you familiar with the world, then you get to the big climactic sex scene. So I'm avoiding a lot of them since there is literally nothing to talk about. Hence why the previous video was only 7 minutes long. However, I was able to find this one comic in particular in its entirety that no one, as far as I know, has made a video about. And that comic is Three is a Crowd by ADullPerson. Of course, created somewhere around early April of 2022 and it just recently concluded by September 30th of 2025 from my research. So this was a 3-year long project in the making, and it's also ADP's biggest project yet, totaling to approximately 79 to 80 pages long. Kind of. You may already know who they are since I mostly have talked about their work so far, but this one in particular is significantly different from the last one because, surprisingly, this comic has a story and lacked incestuous themes, which is a pretty low bar all things considered since this comic isn't free from disturbing and uncomfortable themes itself. So I'll warn you now that this comic contains content that some might find uncomfortable and highly distressing. And before we begin, I would like to give a huge thanks to everyone who watched my previous video. 1.3k views out of the writing of this video in a day? That's legit awesome sauce. I really appreciate it a lot. With that out of the way, this is Three is a Crowd by ADullPerson. The comic begins with a standard narration by Lincoln about life in Royal Woods, the school in particular, and how misunderstandings and conflict came to him one day. Our main characters in this story involved Stella Zhao, Girl Jordan, and Lincoln. It is established right from the beginning that there is a conflict between the two girls over their feelings for Lincoln, and how they can't confess it without upsetting the other. With it, both girls consulted their friends on how to deal with their romantic problems. Stella with Clyde, Jordan with Molly and Cookie QD, or Cookie for short, and yes, that's the actual fandom name. Afterwards, the two girls opened about their love for Lincoln to their friends, setting the next phase of the comic. Stella talked to Clyde about how she had developed an interest in him despite lacking it previously, and how much she struggles with it. Lucky for her, Clyde knew Lincoln better than most people as they were best friends and he was willing to help her. Meanwhile, Molly and Cookie were less than impressed with Jordan's choice, especially after the whole girl guru thing. But they were still willing to help their friend, though from a less organized way and more impulsive methods, which Jordan's already expressing regret over. After both parties found a place where they could continue their conversation, we begin with Clyde asking Stella pretty ordinary questions to set the mood, and she answered like how you expect a flustered middle schooler would. But after that, Clyde shifted to more serious questions like,
if Lincoln was a family as big as his, would you commit to it?
blah 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 more dialogue. The scene ends with one final reassurance from Clyde if she was ready, because they were going to do it on the same day to reduce unexpected happenings, and she should do it during PE class. On the other side, Molly and Cookie set up a more melodramatic method to win Lincoln's heart, and their conclusion on how to win him over was,
after hours of deliberation, we've come to the conclusion of what the best course of action will be to make sure Jordan and target subject would end up together. Oh yeah? And what would that be? Jump on him and make him have the sex with you!
Yeah, we're heading there already. Fortunately, Lisa objected to the idea and immediately called it out as assault, but Molly just brushed her off. Naturally, Jordan would also object to the idea. I mean, who wouldn't? If I had to win a girl's heart over, the last thing I'd need is a felony. Anyways, Cookie decided to enlighten her by arguing that Lincoln had already been surrounded by women all his life like Rita and his older siblings who are more developed compared to her, and that she should give him something he isn't getting at home. Still, Jordan objects and says that he doesn't look at his family like that, which given the ADullPerson extended universe, he might just look at them like that. Continuing, Cookie broke the fourth wall by saying the internet believes it, but Molly shuts her off and just urges Jordan to have the sex with him. Lisa finally got up from her chair and told Jordan that Lincoln is just as nervous as they were to him, and advised her to confess in an isolated space and to get better friends. She's a little more at ease with that advice, though she still considers the other two's advice okay? PE class began and both parties were set into action. Clyde's advice was simple. Be close enough to Lincoln during dodgeball and drop the invitation to a date, and if it all goes well, he'd give an answer and they'd plan the rest after. Also, nice spelling there. Good one, dude. It probably didn't make sense when I said it, cause even Stella thought too. Some shenanigans happen and we cut back to Jordan and she's having doubts that she could win him over, which she may be right as Stella has the advantage, but Molly has figured out a scheme to outdo Stella. Given that they will be playing dodgeball that day, something that Jordan is naturally good at, her idea was to hit Lincoln hard enough with the ball to send him into the infirmary before Stella could talk to him. Then she strikes at him. Again, Jordan is still hesitant to do it, but Molly just told her to just wing it. The game itself finally starts and right after the coach said go, Jordan threw a dodgeball so fucking hard at Lincoln it blasted him through the wall. It left him unconscious for a bit as she rushed him to the infirmary. During which, both Molly and Cookie had a chat over what just happened and how their plan technically worked over Clyde's and that Jordan could still bag Lincoln if she gets the chance to. But what mattered was that she got to talk to him first before Stella. Unbeknownst to them, however, she was tying her shoes nearby, just close enough to hear them, and she was pissed. The scene continues with Jordan carrying Lincoln to a classroom, not the infirmary. He woke up and asked what he was doing there. She apologized to him for playing too rough and was about to confess something deep. As she was about to drop it, Stella barged inside and drop-kicked her ass through the wall like holy shit, I know you want a piece of him and she just knocked his ass out earlier, but damn girl. Anyways, Stella grabbed Lincoln and ran away from her to a supply closet and rushed a confession to Lincoln, though he was obviously confused by what's happening. Jordan caught up with him and both her and Stella got into a shouting match. Lincoln separated them and asked what the fuck was happening, and they both finally confessed in full to him. Of course, he doesn't know what to do and tried the approach of not answering. Both girls insisted they were serious and he should too, but Lincoln just crashes out on both over trying to put him in difficult situations with no easy way out, which turns on both? He then just suggested they should remain friends and talk about it calmly. Both said it was tough to do since it wouldn't change how they feel. Then Jordan said,
And it's not like we could ask which girl you enjoy spending more time with, right?
to which Lincoln replied with,
My sisters.
and he got bitch slapped, backhanded no less, by Jordan, knocking him out again, and I am hoping what he meant by spending time with his sisters involves normal stuff. But since this is ADullPerson, it might not be. Anyways, Stella got pissed at Jordan for knocking him out twice on the same day, which resumed the shouting match. Things got real petty as Stella just unleashes on her ass. Then we get to this part with Jordan, saying,
You've done enough harm, just leave. You're right. For so long, I didn't know what these feelings meant. Things I've done that I can't take back. Do you think I'm not aware of that? Sometimes we are close, sometimes not. So what am I to him? I really don't know. But I know what I want to be. And I know it goes beyond being a friend. There's a lot I have to make up for. Lots of things to say, to show. And there's only one way now to make him see my true feelings. To get back the time wasted. To make him understand what he truly means to me. That's why I have to do it. What the hell are you talking about? I'm going to have the sex with Lincoln!
What in the goddamn?
yeah, exactly! This is the part of the comic where the big climactic sex scene begins. And also my neighbors definitely heard that. A few more panels showed that Stella thought she was joking, and Jordan was rushing towards Lincoln's unconscious body and accidentally ripped his pants off while Stella was trying to stop her. Eventually, Lincoln woke up with the sight of these two crazy-ass women gawking at his. Nothing explicit is shown yet, but I'm gonna blur these panels since they're obviously highly suggestive. And shit, even with this, they still can't stop shouting at each other and playing the blame game. At this point, we get to the I can't show that part. It is the big climactic sex scene, and it lasts from page 39 to motherfucking 74! That's 35 fucking pages! Which sounds a lot, because it is, but compared to the first act of the comic that established the conflict and setting, it's a near even 50-50 split. There are pauses in the middle because Lincoln has to take a breather from what they're doing, but they only last like a couple of panels or a single page and that's it, back in action. Anyways, we got another after-sex dialogue where the three came to an agreement to appease the conflict. And that resolution is basically having a sexually implied polyamorous relationship that they're just gonna work out? Yeah, that's it. That's all they came up with. Let's just share Lincoln together. And it's also implied that Lincoln ain't got much of a say since they insist on it. And he really can't say no because angry woman. So this was made by ADullPerson. We got the signature Lincoln the victim trope. Like, he didn't even want it to be there. He got knocked out twice, woke up with his pants ripped out, and 2 girls spurred out and wanted to fuck him out of jealousy, and now he's trapped in a toxic polyamorous relationship. Like, give my boy a break, why don't you? Continuing, the comic ends with both girls leaving the room while Clyde and Molly and Cookie were waiting outside, oblivious to what just happened for 35 fucking pages. Still can show the two for a few panels as they're covered in his jizz. But they walked out together seemingly at peace with one another. Gee, I wonder why. The last bit of dialogue is basically what we've discussed about their relationship previously, essentially closing with saying that while they did find an agreement amidst the conflict and the fact that they both get to confess to him, Lincoln is open to meeting up again as long as it takes. The fucking end. Remember when I said that this comic lacks any incestuous themes? Well, I lied, because there's a part 2 of this thing starring Lucy. 9 years old, by the way. And yeah, a part 2 like it's Not Your Fault part 2. But, unlike Sismas and also the Omake from the You're Not Welcome comic, this one is 8 pages long, but complete as in fully drawn, colored, and formatted. To summarize this part, Lucy was in the room the whole time when all of that was happening. Blah blah blah, boring dialogue, then Lincoln asked Lucy to help him since he can't move his legs. Which I guess is true. Like I said, head and hand game insane, I can't feel my legs. But Lucy had other plans. Yup. Basically, Lucy had been wanting to start a relationship with Lincoln because of this thing about royal blood and she wants to do some kind of forbidden ritual to connect their souls or something? I don't fucking know. And that whole thing about royal blood came from this rather funny implication from the Loud House movie, where it was revealed that the modern Loud family actually had Scottish royal ancestry 400 something years ago. And if you know anything about European royalty, they're often infamous for their inbreeding to preserve royal blood. Though not as extreme as the Habsburgs. Potential objection? It's still funny to think that the writers unintentionally made Loud Says canon. Yeah, you heard that right. If the movie was to be believed, then Loud Says shit like Lincoln, Luankin, Lanakin, whateverkin is canon. Sorry for that. At least 400 years ago. So, thank you Nickelodeon. Love to see it. However, Lincoln objects to the idea by stating the movies aren't canon, which they are actually, they're canon. And then big climactic sex scene. What else did you expect? The Omake ends with Lucy confirming to Lincoln that it was only the beginning of something new. And then the whole comic ended with this nice, succinct image. The fucking end. Holy shit, what a comic! Also, I would like to apologize if you keep hearing my lip smacking, alright? When I was recording my lines, I'm eating hash browns since I'm pretty hungry, so that's that. Anyways, if you caught that, that final closing image said, "The end?" with a question mark, suggesting that this thing may not actually be over. Though as of June 2026, there haven't been any new pages or even teasers I could find on their Pixiv or Barag page, which I advise you to not open, especially if you value innocence. Not that anyone who isn't a gooner is excited for a renewed comic. Anyways, that was that. Again, thank you all for watching my Lada's comic videos. It actually makes me want to do these. Leave some support for your boy and tell me which comic I should look into next. Also, thank you all for 4,000 subscribers. Still not monetized, but hey, it's something and that's awesome. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, 4,000 is a crowd.